Hello and welcome to another Movie Reviews by Benjamin. Today I will be reviewing White House Down, starring Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx. We'll get into casting here in a minute, but there are so many surprises in this movie that they don't show you in the trailer. You really have to go into IMDb to look at the casting because there are so many different people in this movie. It's absolutely wild. Every time a new character would come on screen, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that person. So it was kind of cool to see all these wide range of people. But the plot of the story is Channing Tatum plays a character named John Cale, who's taking his daughter on a White House tour, and of course just happens to be the day that terrorists come into the White House, domestic terrorists of course, that make it very clear that it's not anything to do with Al-Qaeda, any Arab nations at all. They have him come in and they're going after the president, and he's just had him trying to get all the countries to sign this big peace treaty, and insert random plot anywhere. It's going to be an action movie. Everything is going to come crashing down. What it is Channing Tatum's character John Cale is trying to become a Secret Service member, and they're telling him, you have a military career, but you have a problem with authority, and it's kind of that whole same thing that we've seen in other movies before. But whenever everything goes down in the White House, everybody's getting taken out. The bad guys are taking over. Somehow John Cale finds the president, who is played by Jamie Foxx here, and they're kind of running around trying to get in and out of these situations and get away from the bad guys and get to the safe places in the White House. And they have a really good chemistry. Now this movie could be any two actors, and they could have mismatched, and it would have been terrible. But this movie really works because of that chemistry that Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx have. So it's really good to see those two together working. Now I will talk about the casting a little bit because blew my mind. I didn't really do a ton of research going into this one. I'd seen Olympus Has Fallen earlier this year, so I was kind of thinking it'd be similar sort of movie. This movie is a lot more lighthearted. Olympus Has Fallen was rated R. It was very dark. Everybody was, if somebody got killed, you definitely saw it. In this movie, there's a lot of comic relief between Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx. There's a lot of haha sort of moments. And they really did it well. I mean, they played it well. Everybody really does their parts well. So a couple people in this movie I had no idea were in it were James Woods, who's always fun to see him on screen. He plays one of the trusted advisors who's been in the White House for a long time. You've also got Jason Clarke, who's most recently in Zero Dark 30. Also, we saw him in Lawless a couple years ago, did a great job there. It's really good to see him. He's one of the terrorist bad guys. Also, we've got Maggie Gyllenhaal, who is she's the head of the security for the president. For those of you who like Maggie Gyllenhaal, she's in this movie a lot. And if you don't like her, like me, she's going to be in this movie a lot. So you have to just take the good with the bad. But and then, of course, lastly is Jimmy Simpson, who a lot of people may not necessarily know. One of his first roles was on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He played one of the McPoyle brothers. He's just a very strange character. He's the hacker that's working for the bad guys, and they get him into the computer room, the base of operations, and he just goes crazy in there. He's such a funny little character. He's kind of got all his computer cases and everything, and he's talking to his computers like he loves them, so it's really funny to see that in the movie. Like I said, for this being a movie where the White House gets damage taken to it, the Capitol building blows up, you see a lot of national monuments over there in D.C. getting taken down. They actually really do make it kind of light. This is directed by Roland Emmerich, who did 2012, big movies like that where you see a lot of destruction. Special effects, I mean, it is a Roland Emmerich film, like I said, so you're not going to see top-of-the-line special effects like, oh my god, that's the best thing ever, but it is somewhat realistic, so it doesn't look quite as choppy as some lower-budgeted films. Speaking of budget, too, we're looking at $150 million to make this movie, and as of yesterday, they've only made $58 million worldwide, so not really sure what's going on there. This came out actually about 2 weeks ago, yesterday I think it was. A little late on the review, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I'm not sure if people are not wanting to see the film. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, last time we saw Jamie Foxx, he was playing Django Unchained, so definitely a different feel than the last movie. Channing Tatum, of course, is always going to be your action star. But I'm not sure if people kind of feel like, I already saw Olympus Has Fallen this year, we don't need to see this one, it's going to be the same thing. It's definitely not, so definitely go out there and see it. I'm going to give White House Down 8 out of 10. It does seem a little high, I do know that, but there are so many elements that work. If there's an action movie that can actually make me be like, oh wow, that was actually really cool, and also have elements that make me laugh too, I have to give it a good score. I really did not plan on giving it this good a score. I went into this movie with really low expectations, and I actually was really surprised, so I'm really happy about it. It's kind of your standard filming, standard soundtrack to it. It's a score. It's not any like modern day hits or anything like that. So there were just a couple scenes in the movie where it actually does kind of have you on the edge of your seat. A couple twists that you don't necessarily see coming. One of them, towards the beginning, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen. I won't reveal any spoilers on here, but towards the very end, you're actually going to get another twist in the plot that actually I did not see coming. I was really happy to see that. So one element here, now this is kind of a very small sort of thing, but I do love to see this in movies. At one point, I can't say who because that would pertain to the spoiler, but one of the people who works for the president betrays him, double crosses him, and his wife is called in, and all the military is there, and they're like, you know, if anyone can talk this guy down, it's you, please talk to him. And it has to do with his son has died, so he wants to get back at the president for it. Well, she talks to him on the phone. She's like, you know, please stop doing this. He's like, no, I'm doing this for our son. And she kind of pauses for a moment, and you think, well, you know, typical movie, she's going to be like, oh, it doesn't matter, please just stop doing this. And she actually tells him on the phone, she's like, if this is for our son, you do what you have to do. You even can kill the president if you want. And I was just so taken aback because, you know, in movies nowadays, it's all very, oh, this wife's going to come in, and women are portrayed as, you know, this sort of like, oh, you know, you got to come back in the real sense. And she's like, no, you want to do this for our son, you do it. You know, you take him out. And so it was really kind of cool to see some little things like that, little tweaks in movies to where you're actually really like, wow, this isn't the same plot I've seen 50 million times in movies. So really happy to see that. But yeah, like I said, 8 out of 10 for this one. It's an excellent movie. Definitely check it out. I did actually recently see Kevin Hart's new stand-up that's in theaters. I'm not going to do a review on it because I wouldn't have a whole lot to say. It is really funny. I would definitely tell you to go see it. It's called Let Me Explain. But because it is a stand-up comedy, there's not really a whole lot I can talk about on there. So definitely go out and check that one out as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube, and of course on Facebook, check out my review page. It's called Movie Reviews by Benjamin. Check me out on there. Like, subscribe, comment, get involved. Let me know what you want to see next. I will be going to see Pacific Rim this evening, so I'm hoping to get a review up of that either tomorrow evening or maybe Monday. We'll see. But until then, I will see you at the movies.